Trevor Story, Carlos Correa, and Freddie Freeman are unemployed.
There's no reason for the lockout to happen.
If anything, it pisses the fans off.
What the fuck? There should be baseball right now.
If they can make money right away, they will do that.
Welcome back to Chalk Talk. We were talking about the lockout today, and we have a special guest, Rachel Luba, to tell us what the heck is going on, because it's a mess. It's a mess. So you want to just start off by those are cool shoes. I like those. I just saw those. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted.
Mine are better. Shout out to Stadium Cousin Kicks. Shout out to the shoes, man. Brand new. Check them out. Let's go, baby.
Anyway, you want to give us a couple high level things, like what are the main issues that we're locked out over right now?
Well, I think like one of the most important things to start with is that we don't have to be locked out right now, and there could be spring training, and everything could be proceeding as normal while they're trying to get something done. They chose to lock out the players. They chose to, postpone or delay games and all that as a negotiation tactic to gain leverage. Obviously, I mean, the big issue is the pay and getting younger players paid more fairly. Over the last, 10, 15, 20 years, the game's changed a ton in terms of analytics and how teams operate and go about, operating their teams and, filling their rosters, but nothing has changed for, many bargaining cycles when it comes to the CBA and how players are paid.
And in that it's like minimum salary, or is it
It's not the minimum salary is what it is, but the biggest problem is that you've got some of the biggest stars that are contributing the most on the field who are getting paid literally
Nothing.
the minimum.
Right.
And, to think, Aaron Judge, now he's going through arbitration, but he was getting MVP votes,
right,
and he's getting paid, $560,000.
Right.
And then, because of how teams are valuing players and the way that they are using their rosters and the young guys and, filling different spots, it's just very different, and they are not paying players. They're not signing these big contracts, the veteran players on the back end, where they could then make their money like they used to. They're, relying on their younger guys, the cheaper guys so essentially their big money-making years, they're not even getting paid anymore.
Yeah. So that's what everything's hung up on, is like the pay for young players.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest.
Yeah, and the union wants arbitration to come a year earlier, or a year earlier of free agency or something, right? They want to change kind of that structure.
They want to find a way, and so that's been one of the proposed things, whether it's, right now, I forget what the exact percentage, if it's like 18% or whatever of Super Twos that would get to go through arbitration.
Yeah.
They're trying to, I think they did propose to have basically anyone with 2 years of service to get to at least go through arbitration, which even arbitration doesn't adequately value players. But right now we're so far apart. I think it's kind of been a joke. If you look at where the unions come in and proposed, whether it's the bonus pool, I guess, that would be given to players who are the game's young stars. MLB came in with I think $5 million or something, and the players were at like $100 million.
Yeah.
So that was their first offer. It was an offer or a proposal that shouldn't have even been entertained. It just wasn't serious.
And we saw that kind of they met for 15 minutes, right? So what was
the 15? So everyone.
So to a fan, to an outside perspective, because I don't know a whole lot what's going on. When I see a meeting that happened for 15 minutes, I'm like, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Why did we even meet for 15 minutes?
Right.
The sides clearly aren't even negotiating in good faith. But what?
So the 15-minute thing, and everyone getting so upset about, they only met for 15 minutes and they're not taking this seriously. It takes 5 minutes to make a good proposal, in good faith, and try to make an offer, make a proposal that is you're genuinely trying to come to a deal. When you're negotiating, a lot of times it's like you meet, you make a proposal, and then the big conversations a lot of times happen in like a caucus. When you then leave the room, you got to meet with your team and talk about, okay, this is what they're offering. What's the strategy? How do we want to counter? Does this make sense? Should we agree to this? That's where like the big important conversations happen, right? I mean, even think about when, going through free agency, the big decisions came when we got a proposal and then we talked to you about, okay, how do you feel about that? So it's not the length of the meeting really that I think is the big issue. It takes 5 minutes to show that you're negotiating in good faith. I think the biggest problem is, it's the last week in February, and, MLB hasn't even, if you look at their proposals, they are laughable, and that's not where they are stuck.
Yeah, right.
They're playing games.
Right,
They'll
right,
eventually come up, but they're thinking and hoping that, okay, but players will cave first. But they know, like, they're nowhere near what their true good faith bargaining proposals
So we
would be.
have two sides that are, the players are sticking to their guns. MLB is like, we're
they're
not
just-
even trying to meet in the middle. So they're just like staying in their same lane and going down.
And
going down the
eventually
line.
they'll make like offers that are much more reasonable, but they're playing this game that sure, like there's the negotiation dance that you do, but you do that in the very beginning if you have to do that at
That
all.
should have been done back in like November
Yeah.
or December,
Right.
right?
So-
So how is this like, from a fan's perspective, because fans just care that there's no baseball, right? I talk to you all the time. You're like, there's no baseball. Like,
Right.
what the fuck? There should
Right.
be baseball right now.
Right.
So the fans are getting, no baseball here.
Right.
So like, what is the damage to the sport from a fan's perspective, like that's being done? Like,
I mean, it's been tremendous, and also coming from last year where we had a bunch of stars that really thrived, like Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout's coming back from injury, like he's ready to go. Now these guys that are like I don't know why I just named two Angels players, but like, it's like we got studs. We got fucking studs, and like Tatis, like we have some of the best talent the game has ever seen, ever. And now we're wasting it because why? And like Rachel said, there's no reason for the lockout to happen. Or it's only happening because the owners initiated it, right? So
so we could be in spring training right now.
we could literally just
because they could be negotiating in the background,
Yes.
and then if they don't get a deal, there is a clause that you can just play this season under last year's CBA rules.
Right.
So this is all
But
just
Rob
a negotiating tactic.
Manfred said in one of his press conferences, he was very transparent. I was surprised about the lockout and that it was a decision that they made as a negotiation tactic. And
But can you say that like that? I mean,
that's what it is. And he didn't
hide it, I guess.
He didn't hide it. He's not super transparent, or he says things a lot of times like, "Oh, this is really important to us, and we're trying to come to a deal quickly." And
but
you
he's
look
not.
at his
Yeah,
eyes,
she's
you're
like,
"No,
no."
you're not." Like you don't give a shit.
Right.
But he wasn't. He was honest about that. It was a negotiation tactic, and they're hoping that it scares players because at the end of the day, this isn't. And he kind of mentioned this too. This isn't where owners are making all their money by owning these teams. Now,
Right.
Don't get me wrong. That's not to say that anyone should feel like, oh, poor owners for
Right,
having
right.
to buy a team.
Right.
But they make their money in a lot of different places. Players have a very short, potential earning window.
Right.
Their age affects it, and at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of them, this is where they make their money. They're not making their money elsewhere. So they likely are going to be the ones to cave first, and I think owners know that.
What do you got, Johnny? Did you go through? You were.
I went through 2 negotiating things. Was every 4 years, so I think they agreed right around December, right, or right around the first. But I think we kind of lose sight of Trevor Story, Carlos Correa, and Freddie Freeman are unemployed.
Yep.
Right, like that's like the fall down of this, right?
Right.
Like Freddie Freeman, the world champ.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like one of the best hitters in the game right now.
Unemployed.
For like
Carlos
last 6
Correa,
years.
Trevor Story, they're unemployed, and it goes on and on. So it just shows the impact, like so much more than like, oh, they're on strike. Like, no. Look at like the downfall. Look at like all this stuff, and which to me, which sucks, is it's going to be, okay, we got spring training here, hurry up, get ready. And
someone's going to get hurt.
Oh,
Well,
Absolutely.
people
Yeah.
can get hurt. I mean, you
Yep.
saw it in the COVID year.
Yep.
People get hurt.
Yep.
Then you're going to have those guys that are free agents that are having to try to negotiate with a team.
Yep.
You're going to get a whole because they can't even talk right now.
Right.
So I mean, Rachel can attest this. Normally at this period of time, like you've been having conversations all of January, like
Right.
day in day out with different teams. That like, there's a process. No one's been able to talk since December 1st when they locked us out.
Right.
So now you're going to try to compress an entire offseason of negotiations into a 3-week span to even just get the player there for day one, but he's not
Right.
going to.
They're
Freddie
gonna-
Freeman's not going to spring training.
Right.
But look, like they did speed up in the beginning, and that's why you saw all those deals happen so quickly. So a lot of the talks, I mean, and you know from going through the process, it's like a very drawn out process that could be a lot quicker if you
Right.
needed it to.
Right.
I mean, you saw proof of that with all the signings that happened right before the lockout.
Right.
It can go quickly if they want, but there's never a sense of urgency. So they do this dumb like back and forth dance of drawing it out. They'll be able to come to deals much quicker, if they need to. But yeah, there's all this time where.
Do they even want to though? Because I mean, what financial gain does MLB have with spring training? If anything, it pisses the fans off because a lot of them are traveling down here, expecting to travel down here to watch, baseball games, watch their favorite teams, their favorite players, and then make a family vacation out on their spring break. So the fans are pissed off from that. What does the MLB gain from not having spring training? Is it better for them?
Yeah,
at that point?
they lose money in spring training. I
Is
would
it a
guess.
lot compared to like in season?
I mean, I would assume a lot. Yeah, I mean,
But I
they
think
could
it's-
make money right away. If they, for me, like the way I see it, the owners, if they can make money right away, they will do that. They don't really give a shit about players need a month of spring training. They don't. give a
They're
fuck.
doing that. That whole comment is to put pressure on players that
That's-
oh my god, because if they're saying we have to have this amount of time,
Yeah.
then that means we are going to have to miss this number of games
Right,
now,
right.
like in regular season. So it's going to stress the players out. MLB though, when it comes down to it, I think they would be fine with a week of spring training and then put them to
Well,
work.
yeah,
They
I
don't
mean, and
care.
MLB is going to be fine with missing regular season games too. You saw it in the COVID season. Like, they were fine with 60 games. They chose
with
to
no
miss.
fans.
Yeah.
Exactly.
None of those teams became for sale.
No.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. That's a
None
good.
of
That's
them
a good
became
point.
for
But they got
sale. Right?
expanded.
Oh, we can't. We lost so much money.
Yeah.
We played 60 games with no fans. I got to sell.
Yeah.
I'd lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they
None of
keep it.
them not for sale side.
Yeah, they got the expanded playoffs.
Yeah.
They made their money to float the team for the year. Probably not the best financial year. Definitely not a crippling one. And then their franchise value increased, and just
Yeah, for me though, I think the players are the one that are getting fucked the most, and also of course the fans mostly. But
Yeah.
players, like some of these big leaguers right now, they're training at home. They're training in their home gym. And of course, maybe some are nice. Like I've seen Mike Trout's case, which is sick. But not everyone has it. So some are like literally throwing in Pennsylvania
I just-
or whatever.
I
Like
want to
there's
see what the heck happens with, like, to your point, the world champ Freddie Freeman. Like,
Yeah.
how quickly does a deal get done once they announce it? Because
Right.
you know when they announce CBA, spring training starting 5 days later.
Absolutely.
Spring training is going to be 3 weeks
Yep.
because we have a precedent a year
3
ago
weeks
with
max.
with COVID.
Right.
So you're going to have 4 weeks till the season starts.
Right.
Is Freddie Freeman's deal going to get done the
with-
day they announce CBA? It's going to take a week or two.
Right.
He's
And
gonna
now how
miss
about his spring training?
Now this guy that you just
Exactly.
signed for hopefully $400 million,
Hundreds of millions of
like, is
dollars.
not going to play for a month of the season
Right.
because of this. And then who knows? He's going to try to get ready. He's a competitor. He can go out there and get hurt. You're going to
Yeah.
see someone like Ronald Acuna, one of the greatest stars in the game, that
Right. Just
shows
coming
up
back from
spring
an injury,
training like
right.
super early and like now blows his knee out or blows
Right.
an oblique or something like that. Like this is so like damaging to the game. And it's all, like, to Rachel's point earlier, a negotiation tactic,
Yeah.
which you would hope that the two sides would just negotiate in good faith and get something done because
Right.
for everybody, having an industry chugging along is better for everybody.
Yep.
You know?
At the end of the day, this did not have to happen, but it just happened. You know what I'm saying? That's for me. That's like that just seals the deal for me. It's like, it didn't have to happen.
The writing's been on the wall for
Yep.
3 or 4 years. Ever since the COVID season, like just watching how those negotiations
Yep.
played out. MLB made the exact same proposal in 3 different forms,
Yep.
and then they just happened to have the right to unilaterally implement it. So they literally didn't budge at all off of their initial proposal,
Right.
and then they just implemented what they wanted to implement.
Yep.
And you just knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
Like
that's how they're gonna do it.
Yeah. So
It's like I think baseball is different than football and a lot of stuff. But imagine like a quarterback with your offensive coordinator. Like, here's your offensive coordinator. Opening day's next week.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman's gonna roll in. He's like, you want underhand, you want tee.
Right,
Like, how do you
right.
get ready for a season
Right.
like the past 7?
Right.
How's
And
the
we got a
starter-
game.
We're gonna
in a
change.
week.
We're gonna change all that. All your routine gone out the window.
Yeah.
How's a starter?
Let's go.
How's a starter going to get ready to
throw five,
to
7
throw
innings?
five, 6 innings? How's a reliever going to get ready for a back-to-back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you're going to have a week or 2 weeks. You know, it's just there's a lot of like moving parts here that now, unless they're going to say that, you know, okay, we'll give you your 6-week spring training. We're fine missing a month of the season, whatever, you know. But and then who knows? Because what if this plays out for 2 more months?
Yeah,
you know, then it's going to get accelerated even more.
And also, how about the fans? The fans are missing
Yeah,
another
the
month and a
fans
half
get-
for
the
the
fans
fucking
get
Hey guys,
games.
sorry, we gotta interrupt. I gotta get my body by Tim on, so and then I gotta lift
What am
small,
I gonna do with
bunt
the
the ball.
motherfucker, dude? I need to do something. I want to do something, but like, I don't know what I want to do to you right now. It's just not a good thing. It's just
Anyways, if you guys like this content, like and subscribe, and check it out. Our other
fine.
videos.
Fuck
and,
yeah,
yeah,
fuck this
so-
shit. Cut.